Welcome back to Women in Building. Today we are joined by Angela. She is the interior designer for Star Homes, which is a local custom home builder here in the Kansas City metro area. So thank you for being here today.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm the interior designer for Star Homes. I've been with Star for a little over 7 years now. I've been in the design industry since I graduated from KU in 2008. Actually, it was 2009 because I took that victory lap. But, supposedly 2008. But, yeah, so I just moved here to Lee Summit. I have a son who's 2.5 and is a handful.
You stay busy.
Very.
Yes.
And then I have 2 dogs. They may be running around here at some point. One's a new puppy. She's 13 weeks old.
And so cute, so cute.
She's cute. It's a good thing she's cute though.
Yeah.
Because she is a royal pain in the butt.
She may have been eating my hair a little bit ago, guys.
In your toes.
Yep.
Yeah, she's a handful. So, yeah, it's just a little bit about myself.
Absolutely. So, how did you get into the business?
So I've always kind of loved design and architecture. From the point when I was just a little girl, I loved playing with Legos and Lincoln Logs, and building stuff, building houses. And, I always loved redecorating my house with my mom and repainting it and rearranging my furniture and just things like my siblings never cared about.
Yeah.
I loved, and I kind of definitely took that after her, my mom. Because she loves decorating, and she'd always, let me help her redecorate the house seasonally for Christmas and spring and fall and whatnot. So I always loved decorating, and then in the early 2000s or late 90s, really dating me.
Yeah.
HGTV was definitely the rage, so I loved watching design shows, and just really solidified my love for that. And then when I was in high school, I noticed that my high school was offering some design courses, and so I took those, took some CAD drafting classes, loved it. So going into college, I went to KU. Going into college, I already kind of knew what I wanted to focus on, and I was able to declare my major, going in my freshman year, and I kept that same focus the whole time I was in college, and graduated, like I said, in 2009, design degree.
Very cool.
So yeah, and then just kind of worked in the industry since then. Various jobs, obviously coming out of KU in 2009 during the recession, not a lot of building was happening, so it was really hard to really get my foot in the door with a builder or architectural design firm. And so I took, jobs within the same industry in the field, but doing more like retail sales, granite, tile, that sort of thing, flooring. So not exactly what I wanted to focus on, but I knew it was going to be a good experience for me because I definitely learned more of the background of, measuring for those things, for granite, for countertop, for tile, and working with our fabricators and having, seeing the start to finish product. So doing that for a while, and then finally getting my foot in the door with another builder and doing that. And I think also just being able to work with that other builder, and since I wasn't a designer for them, but working within the home building industry and working with the clients and the subcontractors and the designers, and being that liaison coordinator person to communicate all those selections and changes to everyone who needed to know, really gave me a good background in what I do today. So I really feel like I can offer almost a much better full service design for my clients because I have all that background and experience, which is really helpful.
Yeah. And do you feel like that also made you, when you did finally go meet with a builder to become an interior designer for them in-house, do you feel like that having all of those stepping stones actually made you more of an asset to them, and one of the reasons they picked you?
Yeah, because when I first got brought on to Star, their main thing was wanting someone who did design, and then also who did pricing and do change orders and that sort of thing. So like the previous job I had, I was doing definitely all the behind the scenes,
Yeah.
pricing, change orders, and whatnot. And I had a design background, but yet I wasn't utilizing as much as I had hoped with that previous builder. So it was definitely an asset in coming to Star. And then I've learned a ton just in every day, out at job sites, in showrooms, you know, doing more of the design work every day. So really in the last 7-8 years, that aspect has really grown. And then as Star has gotten bigger and bigger, I had to do less of the pricing and change orders because I have become busier.
Which I'm sure you're so sad you
I'm
have to do
so
this.
sad to not have to do that anymore.
I know, right?
I love being able to say, hey, you got a problem with your pricing, take it up with so-and-so.
Yeah, right?
I don't do it anymore. But it's nice to just have the background and know, okay, like, you know, your budget is this because of X, Y, and Z, and this is what we're selecting, so we're going to be over budget by this amount.
Yeah.
You know, so I have that better understanding, which a lot of designers either don't, or because they're not an employee of Star or that builder, they don't want to step on anyone's toes and talk pricing.
Absolutely.
So I definitely help my clients either stay on budget or have a better knowledge of like, okay, we're going over budget by X amount, so they're not so like, they see a change order and freak out. Like,
Exactly.
I didn't know there would be more. Like, I can at least
Forewarn them. Yeah.
Prevent that heart attack when they see that change order pop up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's been helpful.
Yeah. So now you've said obviously you have a family. So how do you feel like your work-life balance is in this career field, particularly as far as managing all of the things that come with being a mom and a wife?
Yeah.
And, you know, obviously having a great career.
It's nice because you know, I have an office that I go to. I also work out of my home on some days, just depending on where I'm at in the city. And I can kind of schedule my appointments with my clients, whether it's at showrooms or a job site or wherever. I can kind of schedule that based off of, you know, whose day it is to drop off the kiddo at, you know, daycare, and who, or when I want to be home to pick them up. So it's nice because I do have that flexibility.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite questions, you guys all know this already, is one of the questions I like to ask everybody is, do you have either a favorite house that you've designed, or do you have a favorite story maybe that you have with a certain client, or even a funny one? Do you have anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have a favorite job. It's hard because I feel like every job is my favorite at the time, whether it's the homeowners and the family that I get to know and love, or it's maybe just their house or the style of house that we're doing is always kind of fun and something different and out of my comfort zone. So I would think probably my all-time favorite job so far has been one that I finished about 1.5 years ago, and it was the largest house I'd ever designed too. It was a 14,000 square foot house, and it was this kind of a very traditional Tudor style house. So like very much a style that I am not particularly used to or do much of. So it was definitely kind of out of my comfort zone, but it was very fun to do. And the homeowners, I got to know them very well, and because it was such a big house and it was very detail oriented, it was a very long build process. And so about halfway through, tragedy struck, and the lady homeowner was having some medical issues and got diagnosed with a brain tumor and passed away very suddenly.
That's horrible.
And it was kind of her dying wish to have the husband to move forward with the house and to continue, because they definitely designed and built this house for their family. It was the gathering meeting zone. It had the golf simulator, the theater, the huge outdoor pool, hot tub area, and this huge arcade, for the kids. So she wanted this as the gathering, family gathering area, and
almost like a retreat.
Yeah, definitely it is. For all the grandkids and kids. So it was hard for him to keep moving forward, but I had to very much step up almost and kind of play the role of the wife even and designer, and but I mean, to this day we're still friends, and seeing him through that hardship and he's seen me through mine has definitely strengthened our bond and our relationship.
Yeah,
and so that was a fun house.
I feel like that's
getting to know his family even.
Yeah, that's a hard story though.
It
you
is,
know what I mean?
I'm not one to say things are meant to be because
No.
there's so
Well-
many things that happen in life that are like,
Yeah.
how can that be? You
Exactly.
know, but I feel like there was a reason why we connected in a way,
Mhm.
you know.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And I think that as women, we just naturally have more of a bond with clients because we have that level of empathy with people. You know what I mean? You have that connection. And so, I mean, oh, that's a really hard
Yeah.
story though.
It is. And I also just feel like it's so important for designers to not just come in and like steamroll a project and be like, this is my aesthetic. You know,
Oh,
because
yeah.
I mean, I have my own personal aesthetic,
Yeah.
but like most of my clients may not even know that because I love all styles when it's done well. And I
Absolutely.
want to make sure that I'm building that home exactly the way they want it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be, I want to be an influence as a designer, that's my job,
Yeah.
obviously, but I want to be that subtle influence in steering them in the right direction
Mhm.
so that their dreams come to fruition and
Absolutely.
is exactly what they want. But that I'm not steering them down, oh, well, let's go do this because this
Oh,
is
yeah.
what's on trend, you know, or this is
Mhm.
what I like.
You want them to move in and be happy.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah,
And
we've
that
heard
was
all those
definitely,
stories.
My clients, you know, the one that I was just
Yeah.
telling the story about, you know, he constantly reminds me about how, you know, his house is not just another big house. You know, it's their home and
Mhm.
it's everything that they ever dreamed of. So that always means the world to me.
Absolutely. And I think that's probably why you've been so successful in your job because that is how you treat your clients. So that's super important. Well, as we wrap up here, do you have any advice for anyone sitting at home right now that might be thinking of getting into interior design? Maybe they have a kid that's thinking about getting into interior design and they're in high school and you know they're trying to get them into internships or something to see if they actually like it before they take the plunge into college like you did. Do you have any advice for anybody on those things?
Yeah, I mean, just getting out there, you know, just definitely touring the fall parade, spring parade of homes, which happens every twice a year, you know, fall and spring, and then doing the artisan tour every other year, which happens in June. You know, getting out and seeing those houses, really paying attention to the details, and you know, maybe even talking to some builders and people in the industry, and doing some shadowing or interning with various, you know, showrooms or with the builder or whatnot, and just making sure that that's really something that you love because, you know, design and stuff, there's way more to it than just picking out pretty stuff. You know, there's a lot of behind the scenes, a lot of coordination that gets involved with that process, and just making sure that's really something you want to do. And you know, definitely, you know, if you are young, you want to go to school for it, great. I don't think it's completely necessary to have a design degree. There's only so much that you can learn out of a textbook. Really, it's that hands-on that is more important than anything. It's that day-to-day, getting out there, being out in a job site, learning how the house comes together, all the parts and pieces, going to the showrooms, learning about stuff. So really getting out there and seeing it, learning it,
Doing it.
doing it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for tuning in today, and thank you so much, Angela, for being here with us.
You're welcome.
We are excited for next week's video, so make sure to hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next week.